And then they take those bags and they deliver them to the homes of those who are in need. What do you think has been the response? What would your guess be of the response? Well, the way that they had handled that situation is they gave a questionnaire to the school, and they asked the school counselors to get a release form signed from the families, so that if a family wanted to participate in the program at the request of the counselor, then they would sign a release, and their names could then be shared with the church. So that's how it's set up, and it's worked. It's worked very, very well to get those that are in need. But once we get those names from the school, and we take the sacks, we go one Sunday, and we hit all these homes with these sacks. Oh, everybody's all pumped. They see all the groceries lined up and everything. But what has been the response, do you think, from the families that are receiving the food? Zero. Zero. Why? They wanted more than what they had. What? Follow up. Exactly right. What else? Not meeting their real needs. I would guess that that's probably the closest. Because what I found was you go and you take the grocery sack to the house and they say, well, I think you just put it in the kitchen. You know? What you're dealing with, it's not the fact that people are going hungry. Because, you know, in certain cases they are. But in the majority of the cases, they're not. And the issue then becomes, with these types of situations, it's a behavioral issue. It's a habitual, a habit issue. And I'm getting to the point now where in order for benevolence to work, you have to address the issue, which is behavior. How do you do that? How do you do that? Every area is going to be different. Every area is going to be different. For instance, at Roebuck Parkway, we were off the interstate, and we would get transients that would come through there, and they would come up there, and they make a living off of going to a congregation and asking for handouts. Well, let me tell you, that transient has a soul. And when you decide your approach, you'll either look at that transient as just someone making a living from off of church places, or you'll begin to see him with a man with a much greater need than just wanting a $25 gift certificate at Walmart or however you handle it. I make the point to say that that you are going to run into situations in which you cannot make a change in a person's life overnight by giving them a sack of groceries or a gift certificate. Yet, in some cases, that's about all you can do at that particular point. Okay? Don't get discouraged if someone comes to you and asks you for that. If you can do it, do it. Do it. The Lord never says, there is a difference between being a good stewardship of the Lord's money and just being downright stingy with it. Big difference. Yes, use your abilities to make a decision, but remember, that man God may bless him for another 10 years to walk this face of the earth. And as he's leaving your building, he may come to realize that he needs a change in his life. And who is he going to turn to? It will be the one that he remembers the most along his travels. So I would suggest that anybody who comes in to your building, that you have a conversation with them. Never hand out money without conversing about that person's soul, because he will remember that when the time comes. And so just a little thought along those lines. So this gift drive or this Thanksgiving drive that we had, we would put information about the church in the bag and things like that. But for 8 years, they have not had a great response to that. And in fact, this past year has been a little different because we have now follow-up to our contacts. What we do is we take that list of people, we put in the tracts and information in the bags, and once we deliver them to them, the next week they receive a call from our congregation. We find out a little bit more information about them. We ask them for a Bible study. Don't be afraid to ask. They can always say no, but always make the offer. And every time you talk to someone, offer to do a Bible study with them. Because the more you do that, what's the likelihood? You're going to get at least one or two to respond to that call. You see, the whole idea, we talk about fishing and we talk about sowing the word of God. What's the rule of sowing seed in a field? Yeah. You can't leave it out there and walk off. What about the sower with his bag of seed? Was he particular of where it was going to land? No. He just scattered it wherever it went. And it laid there, and some took root, some fell among the thorns, some fell on the hard ground, but there were some that fell on good soil. And what's the averages? The average is the more you sow, the more you're going to reap. And so if you go out there and every opportunity you get through your benevolent program to make a contact, to set up a study with them, that's one more study than what you had the day before. That's one more soul that you have an opportunity to sit and study with than you had the day before. And so I would suggest we'll talk about strategies in just a moment. How do you do that? Right now we're talking about general thoughts, general ideas. And so now we have done follow-ups. We have now received several that have come to our building for further assistance because of that. We have set up other studies as a result of that, and we have had several families to come and visit us on our Sunday morning worship service because of that. Every opportunity that we can get to go into that house, you take it. You take it. 51% of successful soul winning is making a study, an appointment to study the Bible. If you're going to be successful in soul winning, 51% of it depends upon you setting up a Bible study.